And I suppose I should probably fix the overlay. There we go. There we are. Yeah, so we're back to discuss the fan favorite Friday the 13th movie. At least I hope so. Jason X. This is Jason in Space. I'm Jackson from Bored and Annoyed, joined again by Paul. Thank you so much. You've made it this far. This is the last one. I mean,
absolutely. Well, stay tuned. It may or may not be.
That's
it's
true.
The last movie, our last video. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But yeah, so Paul, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, Paul from the Tales from the Flipside YouTube channel. Check us out. Got all sorts of comic book shows and some guys shooting the breeze on Monday nights around 9:30 for the Tales from the Flipside show. So check it out, and we'll see if it's something that catches your ear.
Nice, and thank you, Paul. And I'm gonna let you get the plot here, but first off, we did not update our kill count last week on Jason Goes to Hell.
Gosh darn it!
So here's what we got from Jason Goes to Hell. So we have,
we should have talked about that because, yeah, it's fine. It's Jason. I'm not going to split hairs. It's fine. It's Jason. Go ahead.
So last time he had quite a few kills, 26 kills in the last movie, which is sad because to your point when we discussed it, the movie, I don't remember many of them.
I just don't care. It's just, man, that movie.
Yeah, it's terrible. But 26, and where were we at is the other question, I guess. So I believe, so I think we were up at like 100. We're up at like 100 now.
For now.
Well, and this is important. This is important. So I'm gonna actually take the time to do this. So while I do this, why don't you describe the plot of Jason X for us?
So Jason X takes place, and I'm sure I'm gonna butcher this, like a rusty machete. Majority of the movie takes place in the 25th century, which is from the years 2401 to the year December 2500. So that's where the 25th century takes place. I Googled it because I don't know. And so the plot of this movie, Earth is decimated. I'm sorry, the first part of the movie takes place in the Crystal Lake Research Institute, where they have captured Jason Voorhees and are running, who knows, longevity tests on him because he can regenerate, and he's basically Wolverine. And so the government comes, they want to take him to do further tests. The scientists there were going to cryo-freeze him for the safety of the universe. And Jason gets loose, and then and I can't say her name or devices will activate, the lovely actress from the show Andromeda, the computer embodiment.
Lexa Doig, I believe. Lexadoig. Yes, lovely.
And so she fights Jason and shoves him into the cryo chamber and freezes him. And then this is one magical machete. Because, of course, even though he's chained up, he still has his mask and things on. He shoves the machete through this extremely thick door and injuring her, leaking the frozen contaminant out. So they both freeze. And that's the beginning of the movie. Then later, the majority of the movie, 25th century, Earth has been decimated. And basically these scavenger ships arrive to Earth and, of course, land on this institute and recover both bodies, and then the rest of the movie takes place on this ship. And as bad as I butchered that, it is still better than Jason Goes to Hell.
Well, you know, the Earth kind of reminded me of, I believe, and maybe you'll get me here because you're a bigger Star Trek fan, I believe, but it reminded me of a SETI Alpha 5 where Khan was left in the Wrath of Khan. Like it was like this desert, horrible looking special effects. It was a terrible looking scene where they go back to Camp Crystal Lake and
made for sci-fi type.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
the whole movie feels like a sci-fi Sharknado-esque movie. But yes, it is way more fun.
It's great.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun.
Air.
Yes, and you have to take that with a grain of salt because we did just watch Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
So this is head and shoulders above that. And by the way, by my quick calculations here, I don't know if I'm correct, but after Jason Goes to Hell, we're at 110.
Yeah.
So, and what was your guess again? Like 150, 180, something crazy?
I thought I was like in the 230s.
Okay.
I think.
All right. So let's see if
I think our avid fans may correct us in the comments section below.
Let's see if we get here. Now, one thing I want to say that's interesting about this is going into this when I saw it in the theaters, I remember thinking that Jason would be Jason X, or apparently as they call him, Uber Jason, for more of the movie, but he really only shows up as that right at the very end.
Yeah.
But the movie's kind of fun. It really leans into what makes Jason fun. It completely throws away the Jason Goes to Hell plot.
Yeah. And Manhattan's ending. Yeah, because his body's disintegrated.
Yeah, at this point, we just don't care, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, they've got some fun, quirky characters. They're really stupid. There's an android character in particular that is really something else.
That haircut. I could do a better haircut on that actress. And
yeah, well, you think he would do a better job. It seems like the guy who made her kind of seems to, he like falls in love with her, which is weird. But yeah, she's got a scene in it where she essentially wants to look more like a real girl, so she wants nipples on her breasts, which was kind of amusing. There's a couple great moments in this. First off, there's a kill in this involving I guess nitrogen, when
liquid nitrogen.
Yeah, he sticks this girl's face in it. And then he pulls it out and slams her face on the counter, and it's just awesome.
If I remember that scene right, he looks at her empty half-moon skull and just kind of like, yeah, I'm back. It's great.
And I actually kind of like the idea, you know, the movie reminds me a lot of like they were trying to take Star Trek and Alien and merge the two, because there's the greedy like Paul Reiser character from Aliens who's like, no, we have to bring Jason back alive, you know? And then they've got, of course, the stand-in for like Data. There's a smart person on the ship. There's you know, the main girl, you know, Lexa Doig or whatever. She's kind of she was frozen with Jason, so she's like there to give all the exposition of, oh, you can't unfreeze this guy, you can't bring him back, blah 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 blah. He's not dead, yada yada. So
400 years old?
Yes,
they're both extremely old.
They're both extremely old. So the idea is, and there was Paul's dog is home, but there was a crack in there, or a point in there about he basically like is like, she's the oldest living person, she'll be worth so much, and then the guy's like, wait a minute, do you have Jason Voorhees? Yeah.
Another guy who knows it all.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Everybody knows this legend of Jason. And what, so they were trying to, and maybe I missed this in your recap of the plot, but the bad guys at the beginning, like the first crew of characters, which, by the way, the old guy in that, for horror fans, is a cameo by David Cronenberg, who directed like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly and Rabid and stuff. So I don't know what the hell he's doing here, but yeah, they're trying to weaponize Jason, right?
Pretty much, yeah. That's the gist that I'm getting, is they want his regenerative capabilities.
Yep, and she's out just to freeze him.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, fine. It's a fine setup for a Jason movie. It didn't bother me. It's stupid as hell, but it's not trying to be anything else. Like, Jason Goes to Hell is trying to be this like, hey, we're gonna get into the lore of Jason, explain him, and that's just not fun or interesting. So
the only plot hole in this movie that I saw, and I'm a simpleton, is so this freezer accident happens, and then the whole base shuts down. No one else comes to investigate till maybe the apocalypse happens so shortly after. There you go. There's me plugging my plot hole for myself. The apocalypse happens so shortly after Jason punctured the contaminant hold or whatever that there was no time to research the accident at the facility.
So power has been feeding that room for 400 years.
That's incredible government ingenuity.
Yeah.
Geothermal. There you go.
Oh, I do like the little stoner. There's always like a stoner character type in these goofy ass movies, and he right off the bat, one of the first things that happens in the movie is he like can't stop fucking with shit, and he knocks Jason over, and Jason was frozen with his machete like this, so when he falls down, it cuts his arm off.
Right?
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Might have been better if it actually killed him. He didn't contribute too much.
That could have been a nice cut in half.
Yeah,
scene.
But they wanted to do the whole, ooh, look at our high-tech gadgets and we can regrow arms and, you know.
I laughed when they were analyzing each frozen character and they mentioned, how does he function with such a small brain?
Oh, yes.
For Jason.
Yeah. Which, you know, though, does Jason have to be dumb? Is he dumb? Like, is he dumb or is he just driven towards this one singular purpose of killing teenagers? You know,
I don't know anymore.
I mean,
this series has muddied the waters.
Yeah, that's true. He has looked different in every movie. Do we see his face at the beginning of this one? She pulls his mask off, right? Like,
oh god, in the worst way. Like, why would you have to cut it like around the mask?
Yeah,
there's straps, lady. Just cut the straps.
Yeah, well, and, I mean, that's
she takes the mask off. Oh, I can see why you wear the mask, and then puts it back on.
Right. And by the way, nothing against like really good-looking women or anything, but how many scientists in that job are coming to work in like the skin tight, like, you know what I mean? It's just fucking hilarious.
It's beautiful for what it is. This whole movie,
right. So
breath of fresh air.
So let's talk about kills in this. So we have, let's see,
and to jump back real quick to the timeline, the actual years made rather. Jason Goes to Hell 1993, Jason X 2001.
Yep. So they ran out of shit to do after Jason Goes to Hell must have bombed. I would assume it bombed. It sucked. Yeah. Or maybe it didn't bomb. Who knows? But everybody hated it. I'm sure. Who went and saw it? But so
the kills. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So the kills. So my favorite kill in this isn't technically a kill because it's them tricking him with like a 3D. You know, basically he's coming for him, and they have to complete a task before he shows up. Yeah. And he walks into this room and they distract him by basically having like a hologram version of the woods, like Camp Crystal Lake pop up. And there's these two girls that they have in there, and they're both like, "Hey, sexy," or whatever, with their, you know, their tits hanging out or whatever.
Premarital sex.
Yeah. Right. Yes. That was clever. I like that. But then he does a little homage to our part 7 kill with the sleeping bag, where all of a sudden they cut to him and he's got one of them in a sleeping bag and he's just beating the other sleeping bag with it. That was great. I guess I didn't mind like the whole little video game part where he's confused because they're confused because they think he's like a character in whatever game they're playing, like that shooter game. That was kind of fun. But the kill count. So technically the list I'm looking at, he's got 21, but I believe you have something that might save you.
Yes. It might involve too much scrolling to get the name. I sent you a screenshot in our chat.
You did. That's right.
So Jason murders the pilot, which then results in the ship crashing into, here it is, the drum roll Solaris space station, which completely gets destroyed, which holds 20,000 people.
Okay, so you're going to try to say that while the kill list I have is 131, that it's actually 20,131. That's Jason's kill count. So I guess in the comments below, I mean, you can either veto this, people, or count it, but he kills the pilot, which leads the pilot or leads the ship into the other ship. So technically, he did cause the death of those people.
I mean, I'm way off on either direction, I think.
Yeah, you're farther off if you're right, really. Yeah. I mean, if we're going, but if you're just trying to get, you know, you go over and you win, then you've won. But
either way, but I enjoyed texting you that
yes,
the image of how the population of Solaris facility or whatever.
Yes. Now, this is a fun movie. I didn't hate my life watching this. No. I would argue that it is probably the best of the Kane Hodder 4 Jason movies. I mean, do you agree or disagree? Or
yeah, yeah, absolutely. His first was New Blood, right?
Right.
Yeah, of those, I think that Jason X competes with a New Blood.
Yep.
And Manhattan and Goes to Hell are terrible.
Yes, Goes to Hell is the worst. We're through the original 10 now. I think we agree that Hell is the worst.
Absolutely. And for Jason X, he gets they obliterate him. The android obliterates him.
Yes.
He's in pieces.
Oh, duh. We have to talk about that.
He hits the surgical table, and then something happens. It's activated, and the nanotech rebuilds his body and tries to abort itself, but says it cannot abort. I don't know if this is like a life, can do no harm program where we're restoring someone's life overtakes the fact that it's Jason, it doesn't know who it is. It's just a body. So that's when Jason becomes Uber Jason, and further madness continues where he's just knocking down thick steel doors,
flying through space.
Yeah.
They set that up pretty good too, because they've got the scenes in the beginning where the nanotech is kind of helping to wake up the girl character, and they put the arm back on. Like, there's clearly those little ant type insect looking things that put him back together. It's got to be kind of fun to write a movie like this, because you just don't have to give a shit. Who cares? We know what this is. There's a big thing to be said about these movies, and the ones that really know what they are the best ones, in my opinion. So Part 6 is the other great example of just a fun time. And Part 6, I would say, is way better than this, but this one has a little bit of that where it's fun to watch, so.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to help me with the ending. What is the ending of this movie? What happens?
So the ending is that the soldier guy, basically they escape in like an escape pod, and there's this black dude. He's and he's been in other shit too. That guy, I really like him.
My wife is watching Sleepy Hollow, and he's one of the main bad guys in that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that guy. So he shows up. Jason's flying towards the escape pod, and they're like, oh shit. And he shows up and rams Jason. And they end up going into orbit, coming down like a meteor on some other planet. And then it ends with there's a camp and a lake, a crystal lake. And these two people are like, oh, let's go check it out. And then
it's it's a meteor, make a wish, or shooting star. Oh God, you're absolutely right. So this movie ends with Jason still in theory being Uber Jason.
Yes. On another planet that also has humans, right? Because it can't be Earth, right?
No. Earth is done. This is another backup, Class M planet, if you will, Star Trek fans. And so it's kind of it jumps back to number 2 in the series. at this point, and I think it's a poetic ending to a new chapter that was never written.
Yeah. So, not that watching these is a complete waste of time, but it kind of is a waste of time because this is just. I mean, it's and we'll, you know, hopefully at some point we'll get to talk about this thing as a whole. You know, it's been fun, I guess. You know,
I think stay tuned. This is the last movie in the series, but it's not the last movie on the Bored and Annoyed channel about Jason Voorhees and the lore that exists.
That's true. That's true. Well, that's all I've got on this one. I mean, it's the music's kind of forgettable. It's you know, it's funny because the same composer's done pretty much almost all of these. So, but yeah, this one is probably in the top half, I guess. But we'll rank them eventually. You know, but
yeah, we have some plans for the future shows, and so we're on X. Officially, if I can say so, please correct me if I'm wrong, Jackson. Our next video, we're going to review the remake.
Yes.
From 2006,
nine, I think. Nine.
Okay.
Yeah. Which we'll see. We'll see. We didn't get a sequel to the remake, so that's probably not a good sign. But I think there's some rights issues going on with the director of the original and New Line or somebody. There's a video game that's out that's actually pretty fun, where it's like a team-based game where one player plays as Jason and the rest of the counselors trying to escape. And it's actually really fun, but they can't even work on that game right now because of all the legal issues. So that game has been untouched by the developers for like 2 years or something. So,
oh my gosh.
So yeah, Jason is not sitting pretty right now, but we are.
At least he's not dead.
That's true.
We are sitting pretty. You're right.
Yes, we are. So, hey, Paul, why don't you once again tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, YouTube, Tales from the Flipside channel. Check it out. All sorts of different content on there. So go explore before you have to go back to work.
Perfect. And again, I have been Jackson from Bored and Annoyed. And make sure you subscribe everywhere to our show if this is the first time seeing us. Oh, and happy, at the time of this recording, it was just the 40th anniversary of Friday the 13th. So
the original, 1980.
Yeah, so that'll be completely, you know, by the time you see this, that's going to be old news. But, you know, hopefully you remembered. Hopefully you remembered.
Man, we're doing a terrible job at trying to end this show tonight. At the end of which movie was it where they introduced the plot line they should have gone with, which is Mr. Voorhees?
6. That would have been the end of 6. Yeah, that was the plan.
That was the plan. Okay.
Yeah, so you never know what could have been. If
we'll touch on that at a later date.
We will. But hey, thanks again, Paul, and everybody. Thank you for watching this. We watch these movies so you don't have to. So
enjoy these two.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
See you.